We're back for some short track racing here from Richmond International Raceway. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Hope you're all having a great day as we are coming off of 2 consecutive wins in a full Sonoma sweep of winning all 3 races and being on pole and qualifying for all 3 events as well. David Gilliland in the field after over 10 years since his last time in a Cup car for his own team with Tricon, but we had breaking news this weekend after a huge incident in Sonoma. Christian Eckes is expected to miss 2 to 3 races, and Josh Berry will be behind the wheel of the number 6 for RFK following that incident that Christian Eckes suffered in Sonoma head-on into the tire barrier at a high rate of speed. We saw the car get off the ground. It was such a heavy impact. So Eckes is expected to miss 2 to 3 races with a back injury. So Josh Berry will be behind the wheel of the number 6, which means Cody Ware is behind the wheel of the Rick Ware number 15 for the next few races. Due to the limitations in NASCAR Heat 5, Berry will still be scoring points for that 6 car that will go towards Christian Eckes' season, but don't expect to maybe see him running as well because he of course has no experience right now with that team over at RFK. So we'll have to wait and see how things play out for Josh Berry in that number 6 here now as we come through into qualifying into practice and just getting acclimated with the car before we head into qualifying. And of course we've been a part of a little bit of drama recently. Last episode we knocked Connor Zilic out of the way to get of course the win in Sonoma. Bristol, the race before, we kind of used up the 33 of Jesse Love, kind of moved him up out of the way, and we're able to get the win there as well. So as we come through into Richmond, certainly keeping that in the back of our mind now as we have kind of embraced the villain role or the aggression coming into this season and saying, hey, we're here to win a championship. It's been 4 seasons without a championship with 1 Final Four appearance, of course. We want to go and win the championship in our first season with Junior Motorsports, and we've started off the season very interestingly with no top 10s in the first 3 races, then 2 back-to-back wins as we cross the stripe for a 21.012 to put us P19. Richmond, as usual, a track that's usually weak for myself, not expecting to be in the conversation for 3 wins in a row because of that reason, but who might be in the conversation is pole winner Chase Elliott, Carson Hocevar, our teammate Gibbs, Buescher, Logano, their top 5 with Chastain, Bowman, Briscoe, Blaney, and Corey Heim, their top 10. Heim stepping up, and same for Alex Bowman. Larson needs to step up. He's only had 1 top 10 this season. That was last episode. We'll see what he can do as he has got to make up some ground on this season as you see the rest of the qualifying order. Ryan Sieg in the field this weekend as well for Rick Ware Racing, so we'll see how he does making his Cup debut now as William Sawalaj, Nick Sanchez there in the back row. Timmy Hill won in the Craftsman Truck Series this weekend from Richmond. A excellent effort from him as he'll be in the Truck Series playoffs likely now, which is going to be quite interesting to see how that will play out. On the Amazon Prime Series, a new winner, Gio Ruggiero, picking up the win as a rookie, and that will put him in the, of course, playoffs for the Amazon Prime Series. Now, he never won a truck race, moves up to Xfinity, finds a win early on in his season, as we'll now put our focus towards the Cup Series, Richmond, Sunday afternoon.
Richmond Raceway, we're short track racing once again before we head to some larger tracks on the schedule. This could be the last chance for a bit to settle the score for some drivers.
One driver that might get used up today is Gary Owen. He's been physical lately. He could get it back today.
Watch out for the 00 today. He might not play so nice.
Yeah, 10-4. Wouldn't even blame him if he moved me out of the way. So, we are ready to go racing here, short track racing again. We head to Las Vegas next episode, so back on the 1.5 miles finally, as Nick Sanchez starting in the back already, while he goes into the same spot, even with getting sent to the back with an unapproved body modification. We're ready to go in the target number 8 Flames Cadillac for Junior Motorsports as Chase Elliott and Carson Hocevar lead the field to the green flag. We're underway here from Richmond. Cadillac has had a way better debut than we saw, Toyota have with their new body last season. season, as it, of course, we had a couple wins early in the season, but then we didn't get a win for Toyota until, nearly the playoffs. So Cadillac has now won 3 consecutive races with Jesse Love at Iowa, myself in Bristol, and myself again in Sonoma, and we take up the front row here today with Elliott and Hocevar. How are things going to play out? Chase Elliott has had a few good runs early on in this season, certainly been the standout at Hendrick to kick off season 5. As we're up the inside of your Daytona 500 winner, Eric Jones in the 34. Now he, of course, is locked in the playoffs as long as he's in the top 30 in the standings. That rule did come back for this season. You must be top 30 in the standings to be a playoff driver this season now, as we will clear that 34 and the 18 of Chandler Smith as well, former teammate there. There's Alex Bowman. Been a bit of a slow start to the season for Alex Bowman here now as we come through, settling in behind him, and unfortunately I couldn't pressure him, and Kyle Busch is actually going to get to my inside in that Tootsie's 99 Honda Civic for the Trackhouse team now, and here comes Andretti Global driver of Bubba Wallace there in the 28 just behind. He'll be peeking to my left rear, and in typical Richmond fashion, I'm struggling early on. I have always struggled when it comes to Richmond. Nothing ever really plays out well. Richmond sometimes is a wild race. You really never know what you're going to get here, and it's kind of in a fun way. And as well, the more the chaotic the races are, if it's at a track that I'm not good at, it gives me an opportunity to find some success as well. So I would certainly embrace the chaos as long as it benefits me. Connor Zilish has run us down now in P21 as we go into turn 1. He's going to lay the bumper to us. Zilish knocks us out of the way. First opportunity he gets. I can't blame him after what we did last episode to him in Sonoma, so I'm going to let that one go. I'm going to say have at it, see you later, do your thing. Of course, we've had a few back and forths with that 00 driver, of course, in Canada. Last season, I actually wrecked Zilish, and then at Mid-Ohio, he got me back in the playoffs, knocked me all the way off the racetrack, and we went to Sonoma, and we knocked him out of the way for the win, and now he's going to knock us out of the way. That's the first time at an oval we have had a run-in with Connor Zilish. It's always been road courses. Of course, we know Zilish is going to be so strong at the road courses this season, but he has shown up early in this season and has been by far the best Trackhouse driver. He has run top 10 pretty well every race. He's been on it, on fire. Iowa, he was strong, and here he is showing some speed driving through the field now as Kyle Larson's going backwards again. It's been a rough start to the season for Kyle Larson. It's been a while since he's won. It's been since Canada last season since Kyle Larson has gone to victory lane. So a bit of a surprise there, to say the least, as we continue to watch his early season struggles now, and we watched his kind of downfall in the playoffs, and he still made it to the Final Four, but never had anything through that entire Final Four. So a championship just wasn't in the cards for Kyle Larson. Nonetheless, we continue following behind him, and as well looking up the inside of the Advanced Auto Parts 23 of Ryan Blaney, probably one of the best primary schemes of anybody here on this season. I love that 23 car now as we continue behind that 5 in 18th place. He runs 17th. Elliott still out in front as we exit off turn 4 into the outside wall off of turn 4. The car just completely stopped turning and went straight. Don't know what happened there. I did nothing out of the usual, turning the wheel, and then it just stopped turning. And I didn't have any issues with my wheel beforehand. I didn't have any issues with my wheel afterwards, so I have no idea what that was, but the car just simply went straight on the exit of the corner. Somehow we avoid really any damage, as this is already the final lap of the stage, and Ross Chastain was able to get the lead away from Chase Elliott. Meanwhile, we're P21, a rough first stage as Chastain wins stage 1 in lap traffic. Christopher Bell actually nearly stole the stage when Elliott dropped down to 3rd place as the caution comes out for the end of the stage. It'll be P21. Not at all where we want to be, not where we expect to be, to back up, the 2 consecutive wins, definitely need to step things up going into stage 2. Elliott Bowman, how about Alex Bowman drove up to 4th as well. You got Gregson in the top 10, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Reddick, Ty Gibbs, and Corey Heim, who started P10, ends up P5. Zilish 11th, 12th, 13th, his Trackhouse teammates there with SVG and Kyle Busch. So we make some minor adjustments, just trying to tighten up the car a little bit as Bowman Bowman loses 12 spots in the pits. He's now outside the top 10 as we'll get back underway for stage 2. Jesse Love, who was also strong at the short tracks to kick off the season with Iowa with his first career win. Bristol, he was in position to win until we knocked him out of the way, and now here he is only running in just inside the top 20. Not the start he's looking for now, as it seems like we're going to kind of see him settle in kind of where that car should be over these next handful of races. Now as we look to the inside of the 19 of Alex Bowman, you got Carson Osavart just in front there, Ryan Blaney as well. Chastain takes control early on in stage 2, but Elliott's right on him. I'm getting forced 3 wide in the middle. We knocked the back of the 23 right there. Now we're 3 wide, middle still on the exit of the corner. The 27 of Sammy Smith to my inside, and I am just along for the ride, just hanging on. There goes Todd Gilliland as well in the race alongside his father of David Gilliland in Big 2025 as we look to the inside of the 33. Of course, in this career mode, it's like 2027 with Season 5, but nonetheless, we get clear of that 33, maintain only 23rd. This is just not going the way I wanted it to. It's really looking like a typical Richmond race, but maybe a little bit worse than a typical Richmond race for us. But we'll exit turn 4, we'll clear the 99, and now we'll try to make some headway, and then we would start doing exactly that. We look to the inside of the 2 of Todd Gilliland running P20. It's been a rough start to the season for Penske. Really haven't seen much out of their drivers, Logano, as well as Gilliland and Zane Smith. They've all been kind of collectively struggling. We saw struggles out of Penske last season early on, and Ryan Blaney was the exception, of course, as he kind of always is. Nonetheless, that team, of course, losing Blaney over the offseason, it's a bit of a different scenario now as we have run down Shane Van Gisbergen, and he continues his year-long plus winless streak now as he's on the inside of the 54. Gibbs, who was in the top 10, you see these positions shuffling. It's the way these short tracks always are, as the caution's actually out, and for the second time this season, couldn't find what brought out the caution. I thought one time was a weird coincidence. Second time, I couldn't find it at all again. So second time this season, a yellow comes out, and I spent about 5 minutes again searching through all the racetrack, and I didn't see anything, didn't see any smoke coming out of a car. Nobody's out of the race, so we continue. So I was a bit surprised by that. Everybody stays out here except a few cars at the back did come into the pits. That was Nick Sanchez and I believe Justin Haley, as we'll get back underway a little bit before the midway point of stage 2. We got 39 laps to go on the stage, and it's close. Those guys that just pitted actually might be able to stretch it here to the end of the stage, so that's a bit of a concern that's now rising up to myself and I'm sure the rest of the field, so we'll pay attention to that as this race goes on, or as this stage goes on specifically. Chastain's still out in front, and I'm looking for a chance to do this right here, get down to the inside. Josh Berry in the number 6 for RFK just behind me, substituting of course for Christian Eckes, who faces injury after his massive accident in Sonoma, as we lean on that left rear of SVG. Into turn 3, up the track we go. We've been struggling with this car all race, and you see it right there up the track, and Jesse Love substitute. Here comes his rookie teammate Brent Cruz just behind us in the 31 Bass Pro Shops machine for Richard Childress Racing. Up the inside again of the 33 though, and we'll try to go back into the top 20 and clear on the exit of turn 2, not by much. And now we were working on the inside of the number 5 HendrickCars.com machine of Kyle Larson, easily clear of the number 5 Cadillac. Now to the back of the Penske Ford Mustang of Joey Logano. We'll dive to the inside of him. There you see up ahead Sammy Smith just behind Chandler Smith, the pair of Smiths, of course not related, as we exit turn 2. And now we come up closer to this halfway point in the stage, and you can see a lot of scrapping in front of us. Positions similar to in Iowa, positions really shuffling around today with just the different lanes being run and whatnot. As we go to the inside of the 18 into turn number 1, we'll be able to clear him, and as well get to the inside of Sammy Smith and that Andretti Global 27 down this back straightaway. Should be able to hopefully clear him with a good run through 3 and 4. Alex Bowman in our mirror forces the issue on the 33. He'll get clear, and as well Bowman's on his way forward. He's going to pass 3 cars in one corner, and he's going to try and get a 4th right here on myself in a turn 1 as we move up to P16, the best we've run all day. We dropped to 17th. Bowman's got speed. He's going forward. We saw it in stage 1. Connor Zilish would actually very briefly take the lead of this race, but it would go back to Ross Chastain, who's been in control of this race since about the tail end of stage 1, and he has been kind of controlling the pace since then. So great speed out of that one of Chastain, who's trying to get his first win on the season for Trackhouse Racing. Now Ty Gibbs has dropped to 16th, another driver that's had a rough start to the season. He's had a couple of races with mechanical issues as well that have put him in the bottom part of the running order. Christopher Bell now to the lead, defending champ, Atlanta winner this season, now looking to go for win number 2 as we look to the inside of the 54, and Bell's looking to win more races. Ty Gibbs right now is just looking to get some consistency and some finishes under his belt, and, but you can see that battle for the race lead continues on. Chastain seems to just find a way back to the front every time, so there he is in control once again as we continue to reel in the cars in front of us. Pit stops are about to kick off here for us in this number 8 Target Flames Cadillac. Now in another lap or 2, you're going to see everybody pulling off into the pits now as we run down that 15th place Costco machine of Corey Heim for 2311. Chris Buescher pits in the 17 RFK Ford, and now it all begins. Pit stops, here we go as we continue to the inside of this 11 into turn 1. The leader of Ross Chastain appears to be coming into the pits this lap as well, and there he is into the pits, giving the lead to Carson Hocevar. Elliott's going to pit as well. We know that 9's got some speed. We'll pass him on the exit of 4. Look to the inside of the 3 of Austin Hill now, and now we're up to P12, and I wanted to stretch this a little bit further, but not too far. I want to go to a point where I feel like I've still got decent pace. The tire drop-off doesn't really hurt the lap times too much here in Richmond, so you're not losing much by staying out 4 laps, 3 laps extra. As you know, if you go to 5, 6 laps, okay, you're probably going to start giving up some time, but you're not going to give up too much here by staying out a few extra laps now as we come through to lap 41, and now going to follow Ryan Blaney into the pits, and Hocevar is going to pit as well from the lead. All the leaders are going to pit here, but we know Sanchez and Haley specifically can go further. They're going to stay on the racetrack. They're going to take the lead of this race now, so a caution during this kind of period would really suck because Sanchez and Haley would be able to force everybody a lap down, and this is going to get interesting as we'll rejoin the track now, and you see Ryan Blaney just in front of us. There goes Caruth, Buescher as well. Here comes Tyler Reddick, Noah Gregson, our teammate in the 88 Bass Pro Shops Cadillac, Chase Briscoe, and here comes Jesse Love, Corey Heim, as well as William Byron. So we're going to kind of lose a few spots from the looks of it, and those 2 spots we lost were to the 26 and the 60 of Sanchez and Justin Haley with 11 laps to go here in stage 2. So this is going to be interesting, as now it looks like we've got problems. Hocevar with an issue. He crashes. He parks the bus on the inside on the apron. No caution. We stay green. He just crashed across the entire racetrack, and they're going to keep it green. And look at this mess. We're coming up on it, and everyone's sporadically getting out of that disaster and going all over the racetrack. And now we're 3 wide. And how is there not a caution is the first question here that I have. And it looks like they're going to keep it green. We're going to stay green here from Richmond now as we're all over the back of the 45 of Tyler Reddick. Sanchez still leads, and as well, Hocevar still on the racetrack. He's on the racetrack. He didn't pit. He's in the racing groove. It's a complete mess. Now, we look to the outside. No caution. We stay green. An absolute disaster, an embarrassment of a no call from NASCAR as we continue on. And now Eric Jones goes into the outside wall with a tire failure, and they're going to throw the caution for that one.
We just got f***ed by that, and so did everyone else.
What a stupid call. I mean, what are they even doing up there? So, some drivers were able to unlap themselves, meaning that everyone that's a lap down now remains a lap down because they are not pitting, while Sanchez and Haley, of course, pit. Well, everyone else just got screwed. So about 90% of the field is a lap down with 3 laps to go in stage 2, including us, including Ross Chastain, who was arguably the fastest car here. Chase Elliott got the free pass, so he's back on the lead lap, and now we're fighting for the free pass, and it looks like early on it's going to go to Ross Chastain. Bubba Wallace to the lead of this race as we exit turn 4, 2 to go. in stage 2. Of course, it says 3. Keep in mind, we're 1 lap down. That is 2 laps to go as we roll through 1. Zilic to the far outside now, but we found ourselves 3 wide middle as we started the final lap of the stage now, going into turn number 1. Christopher Bell back to the lead of this race now. He's going to try and take the stage 2 win. Haley checks up off the rear bumper of his teammate. I couldn't do anything. I hit him. They're sliding in front of us, and right in front of us, around nearly goes to 60 of Haley. Bell wins the stage. Zilic had a moment as well, but the caution flies. The stage ends in pure chaos, and this race has just turned into chaos ever since the tail end of the stage with Hocevar's incident. We get 15th. Bell takes the stage win away from Bubba Wallace. Chastain is P3. Did I miss it? I think Chastain unlapped himself, and I had no idea. As we're, of course, going to pit. Sure enough, Chastain did unlap himself. So Bowman's going to get the free pass now. Sanchez, Haley, Priest are all going to stay out. They just pitted, and everybody else pits, including us. I mean, we could go for a wave around, but we would, of course, we would be gambling as stage 3 is back underway, and if that gamble didn't work, we would lose more laps than we would if we just accepted our fate, which we're in right now, which is 1 lap down and racing for the free pass. We're P17, P18 or so as we start stage 2. It's a disaster. There's so many cars that are going to be all over the place right here as well. You see Kyle Busch to the inside of the 88 and now the 34, and yeah, I mean, right now we just kind of have to bide our time and wait to see how things play out here. As out in front you got Priest, you got Sanchez, you got Haley. They have all been a bit off the pace, so they're really stacking up this field. It's so congested here in Richmond early on, and it's wild. This race has taken a wild turn now as Bubba Wallace goes to the inside. He takes the lead in this race now as we continue to try and fight our way forward to get into a free pass position, but we're nowhere close to being in that free pass position because there's quite simply faster cars than us that are racing for the free pass. We just don't have the speed here today in Richmond, so just kind of accepting my fate. I'm pushing as hard as I can. We're not going to stop giving it 100%, but it's just not the situation we wanted to, of course, find ourselves in here. Now 3 wide with Chase Elliott, who I'm sure is not enjoying being 3 wide in the middle between 2 lap cars right now as we continue. Actually, Sanchez is on the lead lap there as we'll go to the inside of the 27 of Sammy Smith. Wallace still out in front. Some front end damage there on the 27, but we continue to work our way forward now to the inside of Christopher Bell, who won stage 2 and now is trying to get his way back forward. I mean, these guys are having to fight with so much lap traffic like they've never had to fight before, just because of this weird and wild set of circumstances that we have found ourselves in here today. But we're P13 behind Chris Buescher in 12th, and I didn't really feel like I had anything left at this point, but we're just going to continue grinding it out. We got 50 laps of racing to go. It really sucks that we find ourselves in this situation where there's 50 laps to go and you're kind of helpless because you're not quick enough to run for the free pass, and you just really have to accept your fate and hope that things maybe fall into your favor, which is not going to be likely here, but we're like I said, going to kind of keep that hope and see what happens now as we have gotten past the 99 of Kyle Busch, and we're running down Chris Buescher, and to my surprise, we continue to move forward, but actually having to back out of it there just so I didn't hit the 17 on his left rear there. So Elliott's going to be able to pounce on that and say thank you very much. I'm going to go to the inside and pass you and continue to try and go forward, and he would pass Buescher as well as we continue to follow this 17. If we get to the green flag pit stops, this could be the opportunity we need to kind of maybe stay out really long and get a caution and hopefully benefit from that and get maybe back on the lead lap that way. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at this point is, okay, if the green flag pit stops do kick off, we're going to stretch this as far as we possibly can as we come to lap 103. Less than 40 laps to go, and Bubba Wallace is leading for Andretti Global. What a story there. Wallace getting dropped from 2311 for Ryan Blaney, his best friend, just about. And here he goes to Andretti Global as well. The caution just came out, and that screwed us right over. And you're going to see it's actually for David Gilliland, an engine failure there for the 46. The caution flies because of that, and everything else is hyping up is completely gone. So we're going to box. We'll take tires. We'll take fuel. Like I said, again, we could stay out and take the wave around, but 18 laps of fuel. We're in the fuel window now where everybody can make it to the end, so there's no guaranteed caution. It's just too much of a risk. We have seen chaos here today in Richmond. Watch out for Alex Bowman. He's back up towards the front now since he, of course, had the free pass. He's now finally caught back up with the field. Green flags out. 34 laps to go here from Richmond. Bowman's getting aggressive. He goes 3 wide for the second position and third on Chastain. I nearly got forced 3 wide as we exit turn 2. Byron got clear. I'm going to drop down in line right here. This is the perfect opportunity. Now they're 4 wide in front of us now. How about, I believe that was Connor Zilic forcing it 4 wide, and one of those, of course, victims was his teammate of Chastain. And Alex Bowman to the lead. He's passed Bubba Wallace for the lead of this race. Unbelievable. As we exit turn 2, 3 wide with Chastain and Elliott. Now 3 wide with Chastain and Haley into turn 3. And obviously none of these passes are for position, but Alex Bowman takes the lead, and he's running away saying, thank you very much, I'm getting out of here. Can I get my first win of the season? He is aiming for just that now as we dive down into turn 1. Joe Gibbs Racing's already won with Christopher Bell this season. Can they get another driver into victory lane? And it would be a huge deal for Alex Bowman, and it would be a huge deal for that 19 car, of course, losing myself from that 19 following last season, and we were so strong, made the final 4. They, of course, want to know that they have a driver still capable of winning races in that 19, and they very well might have that today in Richmond. Now as I continue to fade, just don't have the car that I've needed to have all day long. We find ourselves down in P15 as the 98 goes by on the inside. As we exit turn 2, he continues to march his way forward, but there's only so far any of us can go as we're still racing for the free pass, and I am not in position for it. Now as I look to the inside of Ryan Blaney, this will put us up into P14 with 24 laps to go in this race. Chastain continues in 5th. Really surprised by the lack of pace Chastain's had late in this race. We'll pass him on the inside, and now we've actually got somehow Cody Ware in the mix here behind us now, and that tells you how crazy this race has been as we approach the final 20 laps of racing here from Richmond Raceway. What a race it's been, and now here we are in these final handful of laps, and just hoping for something to really go in our favor, but clearly it's just not going to happen here with now 18 laps to go, being 1 lap down. Will we see a caution? Do not be surprised if we do, as Bowman, though, of course, he's advocating for it to stay green at all costs. I mean, we saw the host of our incident, and they kept it green, and then the 34 runs into the outside wall, and they threw a caution immediately. Didn't make any sense, but it was the cards that the field has been dealt today, unfortunately. Now 2 cars out, Gilliland and our teammate at JRM, Carson Hocevar, who's had a strong start to the season, hasn't quite had the finishes to show for it now as we continue to the final 15 laps of this race. Bubba Wallace in front of us into the outside wall, running in the top 5. Caution is out with 15 to go, and Wallace is going to pit, but he's only going to be in P8. Wallace is going to be 8th as Zilic gets the free pass, but he's still in the race. He'll have fresh tires. There's a world here where Bubba Wallace, if he can get down to the inside, could carve his way forward on a fresh tire advantage, because he's still P8 because of the fact that so many cars are a lap down. We're back underway. Alex Bowman leads the field to the green flag. It's 11 to go. I'm going to get aggressive. Bowman's hoping that 28 of Bubba Wallace can't get down to the inside as I look to the left rear of the 24 now as we exit turn 2. Have to check up right there on the exit of the corner. Just couldn't get the throttle down, but Bowman's clear. Elliott's just behind to follow through. Bell 3rd, Chastain in 4th, Ryan Preece into the top 5 as we continue to the final 10 laps of racing here from Richmond Raceway. Blaney going forward, carving his way forward. We're going to get forced 4 wide. Here comes Kyle Busch. What do we do now? We can't do anything. Bouncing off his door, and we somehow keep it straight at least now, but we lose some track position in the process. Bubba Wallace is 3 wide on the outside. He's been screwed royally here as we look to the inside now. He would end up in the middle between myself and the 51 of Preece. Positions were just shuffling like crazy. As you can see, it's multi-groove racing here as Bowman continues to lead, but Chase Elliott, who finished 2nd in Iowa, is now hot on the tails of former teammate Alex Bowman and looking to maybe steal the win away from his previous his Hendrick teammate, now Joe Gibbs driver, as we've run down that 23 again to the inside. We'll clear Blaney on the exit of 4. Thank you very much for P13. And now as we come through to the final 5 laps, Kyle Busch looking for 11th on Kyle Larson, who's rebounded to a solid result here compared to how he's run throughout the majority of this race. But we pass the 5 to the inside of the 99. We clear him for P11. Can we get to the top 10? We need a second and a half to get 10th on William Byron. We're coming to 2 laps to go. It looks like it's going to stay green. Bowman still has Elliott pressuring him into turn 1. 2 laps remain here in Richmond, and Bowman up the racetrack. Chase Elliott to the inside for the lead of this race. Who's going to come out on top? They're side by side down the back straightaway into turn 3. Chase Elliott to the lead of this race, starting the final lap here from Richmond Raceway. Bowman, does he have anything left? He shows the nose. Now Elliott leaves the door open. Bowman on the inside on this final lap of racing. Who's going to win this thing? Now Bowman clear down the back straightaway into turn 3. Chase Elliott, does he have anything? Bowman goes high. Elliott switches back to the inside. It's going to be a drag race on the exit of 4 to the line. Bowman wins here in the number 19. His first win for Joe Gibbs Racing. We cross the stripe for P11, a lap down. What a wild race. I don't even know what to say. P11, considering the situation we found ourselves in, I don't think it's worth complaining about. As Bowman, Alex Bowman, wins and puts himself in the playoffs. As William Byron rounds out the top 10, as you see the rest of the finishing order, which you have to take with a bit of a grain of salt here, considering all the chaos and with the timing of the caution there in stage 2. But Alex Bowman, we knew he had speed. I didn't think he had race-winning speed. We knew he had top 5 speed, but he showed up and pulled it off. And you see the playoff grid following Richmond, as we're at the top, of course, with the 2 wins. But the last driver in is Bubba Wallace, currently with Ryan Blaney, Gregson, Sanchez, Byron, Haley, all out by less than 15 points. Kyle Larson still has some work to do, but he's going into his wheelhouse, a mile and a half of Las Vegas. Can he bounce back, maybe even get to victory lane and put Hendrick Motorsports in victory lane for the first time this season? I'll see you guys in Vegas after a wild Richmond. Thank you for watching and have a great day.